We are MakilalaTV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
Hello, my name is Cristina Pastor. On behalf of my co-hosts Jen Fuhrer and Rachelle Ocampo, welcome to Makilala. They're called special for a reason. Children who are a little bit different, some a little bit slow, others a little bit frisky, still others with unusual abilities we may never be able to understand. Why are they excellent with numbers? Why is their art so beautiful? Their music so uplifting? Children with special needs is our topic today. We at Makilala believe families who raise them are endowed with exceptional qualities like patience, compassion, and conditional love. Or are these qualities something they acquired along the way when they learn that their children are with autism spectrum-related disorders? Casey DeLeon Pinola is with us today, and she will share with us how it is to raise two neurodiverse sons. One of them already a teenager and in college, right? This mom and caregiver has experienced anxiety, burnout, stress, but has always created a home where her children feel safe, loved, and cared for. Deirdre Levy, a special needs teacher in Brooklyn, has known families like Casey's. She and other teachers try to support children outside of their homes, providing them education, guidance, and additional life skills they would need as they grow. Welcome to Makilala, Casey and Deirdre, and thanks for coming down to our studio.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
My first question to you, Casey, is tell us about your two sons.
Well, I have three children.
Mm-hmm.
My eldest son, Carlos,
Mm-hmm.
he's 16, and he has started college last semester. And this is the one they said would never talk or walk.
Wow.
So it's huge that he has come so far and fought through many milestones and challenges.
Mm-hmm.
We have a daughter who's 7, who's neurotypical, and then our youngest son, Koa,
Cool.
is also has special needs, autism and ADHD combined,
Mm-hmm.
and he is on his own journey. We're trying to figure everything out. He's 5, so
What are the
he's just being-
signs of Koa?
Oh, I was able to pinpoint for Koa delayed speech.
What does COA stand for?
Koa means warrior.
Oh,
Mhm.
So it's Hawaiian, it means warrior. He was supposed to be a twin, and we lost the twin during the pregnancy, so he is the surviving warrior.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, so back to your question. Delayed speech, a lot of drooling, eye contact was a big thing. He didn't really want to make that eye contact with
anyone.
us or interact at his age level. So we noticed some things, especially also his low tone with his arms. So
Mhm.
they were markers that I guess experience with my eldest I noticed.
I just wanted to follow up on Carlos.
Mhm.
They said that he was not going to speak.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he was premature, and
Ah.
he has cerebral palsy is his main diagnosis, and he has autism and ADHD inattentive.
Ah,
And they said that he would never walk or talk.
okay.
He was
Who
very
said
weak.
that? The doctors?
Doctors.
Okay.
And I just did not accept that.
Mhm.
I did not accept that. We put the work in. We bring him to the beach to help him walk and push through the sand and go in the water. And water therapy really helped him. The boys do hippotherapy with horseback riding. A lot of things to really try to get them to reach age average milestones.
Jen?
Yeah, I have a question for Deirdre. I mean, you've heard her story as a mom, but now Deirdre as a special ed teacher. What does a day look like dealing with kids with special needs?
Well, I first want to say that's amazing what you do with your son, with your two
Yeah,
sons.
I
I
know,
think
right?
that's just awesome that they're exposed to lots of different services.
As a teacher, I have worked with many different learners. I have been teaching for 10 years and 6 years in District 75, which works with kids with the most severe needs. And then now I'm currently at a community school where I work in a 12 to 1-to-1 class setting with kindergartners through second grade students. And I work with students who have a range of disabilities, from emotional disabilities, autism, speech and language, and the list goes on.
And these are different age levels?
Yes, so it's a combined classroom of kindergarten through second grade students.
Oh, okay. Wow.
How do you handle when something doesn't go according to plan?
Well, I think the most important thing with being a teacher, it's important to be very adaptable and to really look at it with a compassionate lens, because a lot of the times if there are behaviors, it's because the child is trying to communicate what they want, and you really need to have a good understanding of who your students are in order to serve them.
Yeah, I feel like that the typical day, I can't even imagine trying to teach my 2-year-old, let alone somebody who is not neurotypical, that term. So I praise both of you for being in that.
I applaud her. Being an educator is not easy, right?
Yeah.
And
likewise being a mom,
yes,
right?
but working with special needs students more than my kids are my kids, but they're not your kids, so you have to be understanding of where they come from and their cultures and their backgrounds and where their parents come from too, and put all those challenges together. So you're amazing.
Wow. You have a question,
yes,
Rachelle?
I definitely am a fan of both of you. What is, in terms of understanding, what is a common misconception of kids who have special needs?
That they don't feel, that they're not empathetic, when actually they are almost 10 times more empathetic than the average child. They do feel, they do want to be included. They do want to have a voice, whether they're able to share that voice with you in the typical way of speaking or through their art. They do communicate, and they can, and they have potential. Just because their disability may not be seen, it doesn't mean that they don't have that disability. You just have to figure out, is it disability or just a different ability?
You said you want them, they have to be
They want to be included.
They want to be included.
Yes.
Like for other people who don't have special needs kids, I mean, how do we communicate to a parent, or I want to include your child, but what can I do to make that happen?
Accommodations, things as easy as, if you're having a birthday party, create a space where, my kid can de-stress and desensitize if they need to. If it's overwhelming, the party, kids jumping, bouncing up and down, everyone's being loud, provide a space for us so that he can decompress. And just talking to the other kids that are around, simply say, this is, for example, this is COA, this is his diagnosis, and sometimes he may not always talk back to you. Prepare children. Children are resilient.
So you could talk to them even though they're 4 years old.
Yes.
Your children, tell them, okay, you're...
Absolutely, 100%. They're resilient, and the sooner they learn and they're exposed, they can grow and make their own accommodations in their own way.
So, Casey, how do you handle social challenges like meltdowns?
Oh yeah, public meltdowns.
Public meltdowns.
I lay down on the floor with my kid. With my eldest, my youngest doesn't do that, but with my eldest, I lay down on the floor in Walmart for 30 minutes.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Really?
use as
Why do you
Deirdre
do
said.
that?
Because you have to get into their world. Their world is a beautiful world, actually. They see things magnificently. And
Making me cry. Go ahead. I didn't mean
and
to.
as she said, when they're having a meltdown or they're exhibiting certain behaviors, it's a form of communication. So what is it that they need? And do it as a parent with patience and grace. Give yourself the grace that you might not do the right things all the time. You might not say the right things all the time. Absolutely not. I'm human. I miss markers, right? But do it in a way that, you did your best for what your child needs. Not what you want for your child, but what your child needs, and find out what it is that they need trying to tell you, and help them understand and learn the world around them.
So, Deirdre, the term neurodiverse, what does that mean?
So it just means that there are children with different abilities, and I would prefer the term neurodiverse because it's kind of like diversity in itself, where it's more inclusive. It's just basically explaining that there are just different ways of thinking, and with children who come from neurodivergent backgrounds, they just have different ways of approaching learning.
We don't use the word autistic anymore. Is that a politically incorrect term now?
Well, for me personally, I would say that when I refer to my students, I refer to my students with, because they're students, they're individuals. And when we're looking at children, we don't want to place them in a box. We want to really delve into what their strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I don't like to label my students. I just to see who they are with what they are interested in or what their strengths are.
So how do you introduce them to other kids?
I say, hey, this is Lily. She's in 2nd grade. And that's it. I let children determine what they need to determine from meeting a child. I don't think it's fair to label somebody yet. I think everyone deserves to meet the student for who they are.
That's right. Great.
So let's say one of the students get violent.
Mm-hmm.
How do you address that? How do you address it, as a teacher, and then you personally, and about the other kids?
Do students get violent in class?
Yes, it happens. And when it happens, as a teacher, I have boundaries, and like adults, we all have boundaries too.
Yeah, that's right.
So having a list of rules, and we actually practice our rules every day. So it's important to have routines and structure, and that's what eliminates the behavior. But of course, there are times where I will find myself in situations where if a student is upset because they're not getting their way, they understand the rules, and sometimes they might not be thinking about those rules, but it's important to remind what the rules are and to set boundaries or provide a space to decompress or an area. Like in my classroom, we have a calm down area. But I also have paraprofessionals or educational assistants, and we all work together to ensure.
That's what I wanted to ask. If you have assistants helping
Sure.
you. Yeah.
So I have 3 assistants.
Okay. Rachelle?
I'm trying to see how I can understand being in the world of neurodiverse kids and how my own child will interact. And I love how you preface that, let them make their own decision. I don't have to explain or be like, oh, okay, just be more gentle, or, give them some more space. But how was, what would be my question? It's more of just, how would you prepare other kids to play with other neurodiverse kids?
Well, I think the important thing is to think about inclusivity. And I work in a community school, so we have students in different programs, not just the special education program. And I don't really see myself encountering like a prep speech, but if there is a behavior that is being exhibited in the hallway, I will have to tell the other children present that are not in my classroom, like, please give us space. We need to move along. There's nothing to see, things like that. But in terms of introducing my students, I don't think it's necessary to say that this is a different type of learner unless there is a behavior that's occurring, because we also don't want children to come with preconceived notions of what other children look like. We want them to be able to have a judgment-free zone, but we also want, like, if in case there's a situation, we want to ensure that there is safety.
Are you, as a teacher, have you been harmed in any way while inside a classroom?
Yes, but I think as a special education teacher, this is something that is common, because children are learning, and you can't blame them. You can only send or have boundaries, and it's important that you try to understand where they're coming from. And usually it's because of the communication issues and their need to soothe. So it's all about understanding and taking a behavior assessment.
And my youngest was 18 months old. I didn't know there was a program as like early intervention. So a neighbor told me about it, and we were able to use the program. If you live in New York City, what programs are there available? What resources for parents, for families who have special needs kids?
Well, early intervention is one of them. Include NYC is a great resource. They can answer questions from SSI. They can answer questions regarding education. And if you need resources, they help you, or they help find the resources that you need. There's OPWDD. Also agencies like YAI and CARD for ABA therapy.
So if you have one agency to call as the first time mom dealing with this special needs bureaucracy, whatever you call it, who would you call?
I would call it Include
NYC.
Yes.
Even before,
what did you have
doctor
to,
or like did you talk to a doctor when you first sensed
Well,
that there was something different? Or
when I felt everything and I saw everything, I definitely spoke to the primary care physician, or well, their pediatrician. But I also did venture out into research and social work, and asking different therapists and friends. So I was able to fight and advocate by doing research and not being shy and not, hiding behind, I guess stigma that comes along with it, especially in our culture. That's huge, right? So, they also give information like that. They shared about early intervention, and they also shared about other specialists, neurologists, pediatric developmental specialists.
So I'm curious about Carlos.
Yes.
For somebody who doctors said he couldn't speak, and he's now in college.
Yes.
How is he doing in college, and how did the speech come about?
Exposure. Bringing him everywhere, exposure to everyone, everything, every situation, in doses, not just completely submerging him. Like sound was a big thing. I wasn't going to just bring him to a concert and let him rock on, right? So, we did it in little bits. We had family parties. You're not going to your room. You're hanging out with us. And, if you want to sit and be quiet, you can be quiet, but you're going to join us. Until he learned
To form
social
words.
cues. He learned to pick up those social cues.
Yeah.
And with that experience, he was able to talk. Reading, audiobooks
Oh, that's
helped
right, yeah.
tremendously. Speech therapy. I love his speech therapists. They are amazing. Teachers,
Yeah.
reach out to your teachers. You guys are amazing. What are you guys doing in school? Piggyback off of that. What they're doing in school, do it at home so that there's consistency. And he's been able to do it. There's been challenges along the way, but he's doing well. It's his second semester. He's taking biology and human diseases right now.
wow.
And what does he want to do after college?
He has no idea, and I'm okay with that. And we actually told him, you're 15, be 15 if you want to. It was presented to us. It wasn't like he asked for it and it was something he wanted to do. But no, mommy, I really want to do it. Fine,
Yeah.
we'll do it. We'll take it one course at a time. So here we are.
I'm confused. He's 15, 16 years old and he's in college.
Yes.
Yeah. Did he get
I
promoted?
went to college. I don't understand. Yeah, I went to college at 17,
18,
18. What is the story behind that?
Oh, so he goes to the Child School Legacy High School in Roosevelt Island, and they offer a program called College Now. So it works within New York City, I believe, not New York City. So they offer CUNY programs to, I guess, with specific areas, and they offer the courses, and you have to qualify for it. He did. His GPA is almost perfect. So
Oh, really?
Wow.
You
That's
seem
how it
like a
happened.
very strong mother, person. Do you ever give yourself time to have a meltdown?
yes, there
Self-care.
are.
She had it this
Do you,
morning.
when you get frustrated, do you
Thank you.
cry?
Yes.
And do you feel guilty for crying?
Wait, do you let your kids see you cry?
Yes and no. I've had to learn to let them see that I'm vulnerable. So for them to understand that, wow, mommy's human. She's not bionic, right? And I think the strength comes with, wanting to be that voice for them. You really, that phrase, you don't know how strong you are until you have to be.
Yeah.
I didn't know that this was going to be thrown on me. And then when my youngest came along, I didn't know we were going to have two because my daughter was neurotypical, right? So yeah, even though you have the statistics that say it, you hope for the best.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn, and I have a village.
Yeah. Who are they?
Oh, my husband's
Your dad is
amazing. My
one of
in-laws,
them.
my dad. Lolo spoils them, rotten, but he is there to help where sometimes I'm just tired.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay that someone's cooking for you. It's okay that someone's driving for you. It's okay.
Yeah, accept
Yeah,
help.
Accept it and seek it out. And
Yeah.
therapy is a thing. I'm a big advocate. I have a therapist. I love her. She's amazing. and just saying things that you know, sometimes you feel you can't say to other people without
Say,
feeling
why me?
Yeah.
Did you ask that?
I do.
You did. Okay. All right. Rachelle? Have a...
Actually, I want to piggyback with what you were saying before about culture. Like, share your experiences with us about how you think being a Filipino has actually impacted you as being a mom of two neurodiverse kids.
Mhm.
Okay. So I was born and raised here, but my parents were immigrants here. So I'm a first generation born American and American Filipina. And it is hard. It is hard because you want to bring your traditions along with it. But then there are some things where, you know, we don't talk about family stuff outside the family home, and we don't share our private lives. And well, why not? Like,
If you can help somebody.
Are
if you
they
can help
suggesting
someone-
that you hide the conditions of your kids?
well,
Of
not
your
my
sons?
family, but when I studied in Davao, that's one of the things that I experienced. You know, our close friends are like, you know, maybe you should keep it on the hush and hush. And that's stigma, and then, you know, the
Yeah.
taboo behind it. But
Yeah.
why? If I can help another child,
Yeah.
and I can help another family when I didn't always have the help and resources available, why not?
And you
you
can
know.
learn from other moms too.
Yes, and that's how I've gone along the way, and I've helped other mothers along the way, and you just learn together.
Yeah. Deirdre, empowerment, how does it apply to special needs children?
Well, I think, again, we have to look at their strengths. And I guess when I was thinking about that question about how do you introduce students to other students, and there's a great book, it's called Just Ask by Sonia Sotomayor. And it's all about, she actually had diabetes growing up. And it's about all the different disabilities. So it's really important to understand that people are different and have different needs, but it's also to work along with their strengths and to see what they like, because that's what you can really get into, and that's how you can empower any child.
Sometimes people are scared to ask because they might end up using the wrong word and will offend, you know, somebody
Yeah.
by asking. What do you advise them? Just ask anyway, and
I think take social cues if you know them, but I think it's also important to ask questions before you get to, like, I love asking questions, but I don't see anything wrong with it, but also be aware and take the social cues too.
That's right. So, Casey, when you found out that you had, that Carlos, your firstborn, was autistic, is that the word they used? What was your reaction?
That was his diagnosis, in
Yeah.
addition to the cerebral palsy. I cried in the bathroom.
On the bathroom.
I definitely cried. It was at neurology, and I cried because I was a young mom and I didn't know what any of it meant.
How old were you at the time?
I was
18,
20.
19? Oh, okay.
I was 20. When he got his diagnosis, I was 20. So, you
And
know,
when did you find out? How old was he?
2.
2, okay.
2. It was huge because there wasn't a lot of stories out, and you know, navigating motherhood as a young parent was hard enough. Now you tell me he has a diagnosis and complications, and that he might be not. I mean, oh no, it was rather definitive how they told me that he wouldn't walk or talk.
Oh, okay.
So I cried. I cried in the bathroom. To answer your question about crying, I do cry.
I'm sure many moms like you do.
And then I relied on my mother, and rest her soul, but she was a big part of my strength. And she was a nurse, and she's like, okay, well, you know, you finished crying, let's go. time to do the work. And that's
Did you-
always been my outlook. Like,
Did you have people in the background blaming you for it? You know, sometimes they blame the mothers, even if the mothers had nothing to do with it.
I did. I got a lot of that feedback. Oh, because
Yeah.
you were a young mother. Oh, because I don't have a regular uterus. I mean, that's a topic for another show. But my uterus is not normal. So they're like, oh, you know, the baby was premature because of you. And
Oh, really?
my
so
gosh.
I did get a lot of shame. That is kind of common in the Filipino community.
Yeah.
Everyone has an opinion, which is cool. I learned to protect myself
Mhm.
and create boundaries,
Mhm.
as which you mentioned, and not take that. And I've actually spoken up where, you know, maybe it wasn't the right way I spoke up, but, you know, I spoke up where, and I didn't tolerate it.
Yeah, I
so-
know. Anyway, we're about to running short of time. Can we ask you to say some short words before we close finally? Deirdre, let's start with you.
Okay, well, thank you again for having me here. I think it's really important to celebrate all of our learners and to really get into their strengths and to appreciate each other.
Yeah. Casey?
I want to thank you, ladies, for having me
Oh,
and reaching
thanks
out.
for coming down.
Yes, great experience, and I'm happy to share. And also to the parents out there, when you see something, you know, follow your instinct,
Mhm.
make noise,
Yeah.
advocate for your child. And a label is just a label, a diagnosis, that's still your child at the end of the day, you know, and help them be there for what they need, not just only what you want, but for what they need.
That's right.
Beautiful.
You know, it always happens at Makilala just when the conversation is getting heated and excited. We are reminded that time is running short. Thank you, Casey and Deirdre, for enlightening us about children with special needs and how families and schools can work together to advocate for them. There is a need for more parents and teachers like you, instead of caregivers who try to fix children, right? So thank you, Jen and Rachelle, for your thoughtful questions. And to all our viewers, thank you for watching.